Alright, so the first case we are going to talk about is the disappearance of Stacey Arras. In July of 1981, 14-year-old Stacey Arras disappeared into thin air from Yosemite National Park while on a horseback riding trip with her father and 7 others. After riding for a few hours, the group decided to stop at a camping area called Sunrise High Sierra Camp. Soon after stopping, Stacey decided to go for a walk through the woods to a nearby lake. Before leaving, Stacey asked her father if he wanted to join her, to which he declined. However, Gerald Stewart, an older member of their horseback riding group, said he would go with Stacey. After the two walked for a while, Gerald became tired and sat down on a rock while Stacey continued to the lake. This was the last time she was ever seen. Gerald became worried after Stacey hadn't returned for a while, and he went back to the group, who all started looking for her. A huge search later commenced, involving over 100 people. This included a helicopter search and a sniffer dog search. This continued for 10 days, and the only thing they ever found was Stacey's lens cap from her camera. And that is literally all of the information on the case. There are 3 main theories about what happened to Stacey. The first one is that Stacey was kidnapped by someone on the trail or in the woods. The second one is that she actually ran away, although she had almost none of her belongings with her. And the third theory is that Stacey got lost during her walk and died of natural causes. The real reason Stacey disappeared may never be known. No new evidence on the case has been found since then, and 2018 marks the 37th year since her disappearance. Alright, so the next case we're going to be talking about is the case of Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old Canadian student whose body was found in February of 2013, drowned inside one of the water tanks at the Cecil Hotel located in downtown Los Angeles. Her body was discovered after hotel staff received complaints from guests of low water pressure and bad-tasting water. On the day she disappeared, elevator surveillance footage showed strange activity from Elisa, including pressing all of the buttons, peering outside the doors several times, making unknown hand gestures, and even seeming to hide in the elevator. She tried to close the door multiple times while she was in the elevator, but it never closed due to an electrical malfunction. Finally, she exited the elevator, and that is the last time she is ever seen alive. Whatever happened to Elisa after this footage is still unknown to this day. There are many theories as to why Elisa was exhibiting this odd behavior. Some say this was a paranormal event, some think she was trying to hide from someone who eventually murdered her, and others believe Elisa suffered an episode of paranoia due to her bipolar disorder, which led to the death. As investigators could not pin down the reason for Elisa's death, it was officially ruled an accidental drowning. Now, the Cecil Hotel already had a past of odd occurrences. There have been at least 16 cases of suicide, murder, and other strange activity at the hotel, including people jumping out of windows, ingesting poison, and being stabbed or beaten in their rooms. 2 known serial killers have also resided there for a period of time, one of them being the infamous Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, who killed 14 people in the Los Angeles area. It has been over 5 years since Elisa Lam was found, and there is no new information on the case. Alright, now the third and final case that we are going to be talking about today is the mysterious death of Joshua Maddux. Joshua Maddux, 18 years old at the time, left his family's home in Colorado in May of 2008 to go for a walk and never returned. A few days after Joshua disappeared, his parents contacted the authorities and a huge search was conducted, but it came up empty. 7 years later, a group of construction workers were demolishing an abandoned cabin less than a mile from Joshua's home, and they ended up finding his skeletal remains inside the chimney of the cabin. The owner of the cabin, Chuck Murphy, said that it had been empty for 10 years. He said that he would occasionally go and check on the cabin, and that there were mice, chipmunks, and raccoons living inside, and also that the cabin smelled really bad. Now, this is where the case gets weird. The circumstances of Joshua's discovery raised more questions than answers. Investigators believed Joshua tried to get into the cabin through the door, but after finding that it was locked, he climbed on top of the roof, shimmied down the chimney, and got stuck in the fatal position with his feet above his head. Police determined that there was no foul play, and the coroner officially ruled the death as an accident. However, speculation about police's theory and the accidental death ruling arose quickly for a few reasons. First off, Chuck Murphy, the owner of the cabin, said that there was a heavy steel grate covering the top of the chimney. For this reason, he believes it's impossible that Joshua got in the chimney from the outside of the cabin. Here's a quote from Chuck Murphy. "There's no way that guy crawled inside that chimney with the steel webbing. He didn't come down the chimney." Secondly, when Joshua's body was found, he was wearing only a thin thermal shirt, while the rest of his clothes were actually inside the cabin. People questioned how his clothes would be inside the cabin if he got stuck in the chimney and never actually made it in. And the third weird discovery was that a large wooden breakfast bar had been torn from the wall of the cabin and placed across the fireplace, blocking the opening. Many people have suspicions that one of Joshua's friends named Andy was involved in the death. The reason for this is due to a comment found on a Reddit post called "People Who Have Known Murderers, Serial Killers, etc. How did you react when you found out? How did it affect your life afterwards?" One of the comments on this post was written by someone who said that they were good friends with Joshua Maddux and another guy named Andy. This person said that Joshua and Andy started becoming friends, and they were supposedly planning to take a trip to New Mexico together. Shortly after Joshua disappeared, Andy actually went to New Mexico by himself, where he reportedly stabbed a man to death and, upon arrest, admitted to killing a woman and stuffing her body in a barrel. However, these charges were dropped. The Reddit commenter also claims that several people reported to the police that Andy bragged about putting Josh in a hole. So that's basically all the information there is on the case. Joshua's death is still officially ruled as accidental, and there have been no new discoveries in the case since then.